video is sponsored by Last Epoch. Uncover the past and reforge the future in this upcoming time-traveling action RPG from 11th Hour Games. Built for genre veterans and newcomers alike, Last Epoch will have you mastering over a dozen unique and frankly rad-sounding classes like Void Knight, Beastmaster, and Blade Dancer. Branch out across tons of skill trees, dive into the community-revered crafting system, and hunt for rare and powerful loot by yourself or alongside your closest ARPG pals. Last Epoch is easy to learn and hard to master, just like playing the saxophone. And Last Epoch's deep and continually evolving endgame means that there's no curfew on this dungeon crawl, unlike my saxophone playing. I have to stop by 7. Pre-order standard, deluxe, or ultimate editions today to make sure you have access to tons of goodies like the Temporal Guardian armor set, pet cosmetics to spruce up your favorite companions, and of course a copy of the game itself. That's important. Start working out those index fingers because Last Epoch comes out of early access on February 21st, 2024. That's this year. Head on over to Last Epoch's Steam page to pre-order your version of the game today and prepare for your next great ARPG adventure.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Windbreakers podcast. I'm Yahtzee Croshaw. I'm joined by Marty Slaver and Sebastian Ruiz.
On the other one, yeah.
Yeah, I realized I just gave thumbs up on an audio,
Yes, you
audio-centric program.
And a very soggy doggy.
Oh, you got off to a there. That was nice.
He just got back from the kennels because we were away for the long weekend.
Oh.
And cruelly, someone decided to give him a bath.
Cruelly.
So
It's very sound good.
he's just sort of muttering his little problems in my ear. But
Do you think he went on any adventures this weekend that were sort of like tangential or to the side of what you did this weekend?
well, that certainly seems like it could be the thing that happened. He probably got up to all kinds of side activity in the kennel. Probably sniffed a lot of optional butts. And that brings us to this week's topic. Side quests in games. What makes us want to do them? What brought this to mind, Marty? Because I believe this was your suggestion.
Yeah, I've been. It's been a heavy first few months of the year for big old JRPGs. I've been playing a lot of Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, a lot of Persona 3 Reload, and a lot of Redacted. And all three of those games are just lousy with side quests. And I find myself doing them a lot. So apparently they're doing something right with their side quests. So I kind of want to just have like a more sort of a mile-high view of well, how do we feel? How do we feel when we're playing a game with a wealth of side quests? What do? Are we taking the time to smell the flowers? Are we going off the beaten path? What are we looking for in quests that we like? What do we hate in side quests? I feel like you don't like them, Yahtzee. My gut is going to be Frost is pro, Yahtzee's con.
Well, I'm sort of inevitably going to be con because my policy is to try to get through the game to story end in the course of the week that I have to play them. And usually that will mean powering through side quests or avoiding them altogether. Just to go through the story stuff.
Sure.
The main campaign stuff. So oftentimes my hands are tied and I can't actually engage with side quests. Although usually in like the early stages of playing a game, I'll indulge a few to see if there's anything more interesting there. And in fact, when I was playing Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, I adopted the policy of humouring side quests wherever they came up, because I'd played a lot of Yakuza games before, and the critical path and main plot for those games are all kind of the same.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, main character defends innocent woman who is embroiled in a conspiracy to take over Japan stroke the Yakuza. It all ends in a shirtless punch-up. Now, which Yakuza story did I just describe?
Well, most recent.
Judgment.
Infinity Wealth.
Yeah.
Yes, every single one of them. That was my point.
Is there a line then? Okay, so when we say side quests, let me get into the semantics there. I'm thinking like Ubisoft, where it's like, here, go find the lookout, all right, or go do this quick little race. what is full blown side quest and what's just like a I don't know, a chore? Who knows?
Yeah, I think the line's
Well,
been there's like a bleeding over of those, right? Like you don't have to go to all the top of the Ubisoft towers, but that feels like a side quest. I don't know if it's a good side quest, but it feels like one. Whereas also a quest that has like a narrative arc and it has a little 3-act
right.
structure to it also feels like a side quest to me.
I
Some
think
are
in
better
the
than others, though.
in the Ubisoft sandbox model, there is a distinction between the side quest and the side activity.
So there we go. Okay.
Okay.
Side
Yeah.
activity.
Yeah.
See, these words are good.
You got your main critical path quest, which is like a a line of objectives, and the side quest will be like a shorter line of objectives. Go here, talk to this person, do this, fight these dudes, go back to the person, etc. The
Mhm.
side activity is something more like collect all the flags in Assassin's Creed,
Gotcha.
do
Gotcha.
all the copy pasted punch up missions. It's
Mhm.
something that you could basically just hack a million out of. Like hidden chests, like single challenges, like the stuff in Watch Dogs where you have to do the little circuit diagram puzzle, or the
Okay.
Riddler trophies in the Arkham games.
Yeah, side quests can also be like little mini games, little collecting things.
Yeah,
I feel like the ones you spotted on a difference there, where it's some feel authored and others feel like we created a thing and we just kind of vomited them all over the map, and now go find those things.
yes. Often in a live service game, there's more side activity than quest.
Yeah, yeah.
But they put some narrative to it and disguise it as a side quest.
Yeah.
So that's the
what they
thing.
do.
Yeah, that's putting the pill inside the peanut butter and giving it to
Well,
the toffee.
for a relevant comparison, if you look at something like Arkham Knight or Arkham City, every side quest line is part of a coherent, narrative. You're going up
Yeah.
against this particular boss. He's got like Two-Face and Penguin are robbing this bank, and this bank. You have to go to all those three banks and foil the robberies individually, and they're all like individually crafted missions.
Mm-hmm.
In comparison, you have something like Gotham Knights, where the game just procedurally generates missions everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Here's some thugs trying to break into this door, beat them all up, move on to the next.
Yeah, and the Arkham one that you mentioned, it feels like those quests also succeed in world building and character building, and they teach you something about Gotham. They also tell you something about who these characters are and their relationship to Batman. Whereas the Gotham Knights or even the Suicide Squad ones are just, I mean, busy work, I guess, and maybe maybe all games are busy work, but it just feels like busy work or chores.
I think most importantly, the sense in the Arkham Knight side quest is that each one you do gets you towards a goal. Like
Mhm.
each side quest is like a percentage, showing how far you are through that particular goal. At the end of which you will have fixed the problem, whatever it was. And the side stuff in Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad feels like busy work because there's never going to be any less of it. It will always you will always be having to do more of it. And just from like a context narrative perspective, that's a little bit demoralizing. Because like we're not really fixing the situation, we're just part of it, really.
Yeah.
Feels like the reason I find it harder to get into these new God of Wars, because in the older ones, even if you are going off the beaten, like I'm gonna kill Zeus, right? But here I've just killed Ares, I've killed Medusa, I've killed Mercury. It's kind of like all the things in the goal, right? Where it's sort of
When
like,
were you
okay,
killing Mercury? That's a Roman god.
that is a Roman god, isn't it?
Hermes?
Too much smite. I'll tell you what, he's also the cooler one. He's got the better name.
Wow.
So, but it's also just like, as I'm getting through there, I might as well clean house on my way there. Whereas the new Ragnarok seems to be, he has a quest that he very much wants, but he keeps on just getting sidetracked more so than
it's very
questing.
overt in those games because, like, literally, there are parts in the plot where your side character will go, "Well, we could go on and do like the important thing we need to do, or we could piss about for an hour. What do you want to do?"
Yeah, it's always funny, not to bring up the Ludo-narrative dissonance, but the idea of in the main quest, your character has a real sense of urgency, whereas, and then you could just fuck around and be like, because like, I don't know, Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild, Zelda is like, I have been holding this pig god at a standstill in this castle for 100 years. You just woke up, come fix this, and you could be like, or I could find 700 Koroks. Like, or I could do that.
This is the eternal nugget of Ludo-narrative dissonance that has
Yeah.
always blighted the sandbox game, right from Grand Theft Auto onwards.
Yeah.
What was that one that everyone yelled about? Fallout 4? It's like, I'm here to get my son, or I'm just going to
Oh,
tip
yeah.
about and
Oh,
find
yeah.
bottle caps.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
just piss about, who cares?
yeah.
That's fine.
Which is fine. That's just something I've gotten over, right? Like that's just
But what if
I don't know.
what if the side quests are better than the main narrative? So like Witcher, I'll be playing it on the side, and I like the side questing more so than I like the main story. It reminds me more of like television, where each one is very episodic, but there is like a main through line, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I'll get there when it gets resolved eventually. But I like these little side quests that I'm doing.
I mean, me too. I like that about The Witcher, especially The Witcher 3. And what I like about doing the side quests is that it feels like Geralt on the job, as it were. Like this is just what he does all day. Like he's a blue collar worker. He just rocks up to someone's house and says, "I heard you got monster problems.
Yeah.
Now my rate is 500 gold an hour.
Yeah.
But that's negotiable depending on what expenses I accrue."
Yeah.
You've been using your natural accent more and more.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's funny when there's games I look back on and I remember the side quests more than I remember the main story, which maybe that's just a product of like in a side quest you can tell like a really tight vignette, like you can even like veer off into maybe a different tone or a different genre than the main game. You could do a funny side quest or a scary side quest or a romantic side quest in a game that isn't inherently one of those.
Or you could play with gameplay mechanics a bit. You could have a side quest where you've gotten used to fighting a certain way, but then there's this one side quest that says, "Hey, do this without using such and such power," or "Do this without getting hit a single time."
Yeah.
Well, we've come a long way too. Back in the day, it used to always be like, "Hey, help me catch chickens." No matter who you were, what you were playing, help me catch
Every
5
hero has to
chickens.
catch a chicken.
Go catch it. Yeah, it's just like
kill rats in someone's basement.
Yeah.
That's the very first quest.
just a classic in one way.
Yeah.
So we want them to be a little authored. We want them. I like self-contained. I kind of am a little intimidated by side quests that do impact everything else, right? And I kind of like knowing I can go in this self-contained space and come out and everything's still fine.
What do you think of games where side questing is semi-required? Like I'm thinking of something like Saints Row: Get Out of Hell, where instead of a fixed like path of critical missions, you can just power through. It just says, "Hey, side quest until you've made this amount of experience or this amount of money, and then you can do the next story mission."
Yeah, that feels like a form of gating in the same way that like I think like a dragon the previous Like a Dragon, Yakuza 7, had like a money gate where it was like you need a certain amount of money in order to do something, and so it's like, well, how are you going to make the money? And it's probably like the real estate game or whatever, like whatever mini game makes the most money. But that's where you're.
No More Heroes, the first one, had something similar. I like that. I like when like an open world game does that because it mandates engagement with the open world. Rather than
I like it if the game has good quests. Well, if the game has bad quests, that's one. Yeah.
Well, no one sets out to have bad quests in their games.
Yeah,
there are plenty of like. Was it one of the Just Cause games where you had to like build up chaos by doing random stuff and destroying random stuff to advance in the game?
Oh, that's fun.
Don't recall that.
But Just Cause 2 particularly does feel like a game where you have less of that problem where the side questing feels like taking a break from the main thing. In Just Cause 2, it feels like you're constantly destabilizing the nation with everything you do, and every little helps. Everything you do gets you towards that goal.
And again, that all feeds into characters, right? In the same way that, in like a dragon, if you are Ichiban, like he's the kind of dude who does go out and he's kind of just like a human golden retriever, and he wants to help people. Like he's the kind of character who would, if he walked by and saw a dude in a mascot costume who needed help, he would help him out. If he saw a weird scientist who created a giant Roomba, he'd help him out. Like that feeds into who that character is, as opposed to being a stoic, I need to save the world, but I guess I will also catch these chickens.
Well, it made more sense than when Kazuma Kiryu did it.
Yeah.
Because Kazuma Kiryu did the same thing, but with less justification, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, he had to dress up in a mascot costume in one of the Yakuza 6 side quests, as I recall.
Do you, Frost, you were saying how you like them self-contained. Does that mean, what you do in it doesn't really impact the world, or does that mean you don't like the ones that are kind of chains of quests? Because I'm thinking of like the Souls games. A lot of times have chained side quests where
yeah,
you have to find Alexander the pot dude in Elden Ring
yeah.
multiple times in the game, like Rainy's quest multiple times in the game.
Right.
Even
See
like
that?
the trading quest in Zelda games, the Big Goron sword is a thing that lasts the entirety of Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna actually just eat those words immediately because my favorite ones, as I was gonna say, are the ones that like if you don't do them, there's I guess they kind of do tie back into the gameplay, sort of like in the old Assassin's Creed, where it's you
Mhm.
can go and scout the perimeter or find this guy, and you found like an extra passageway that'll help you in the actual assassination. Where it feels like I don't really suffer too much for not haven't done it, but it does like lend itself to the story. And again, Dark Souls, I love those quests, but more so because they're not as imposed, and it does make me curious.
Mhm.
My favorite is probably still Onion Bro.
Yeah.
Just his little quest line of just home de dum, what's up? I'm
Yeah.
chilling.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as he slowly gets depressed
Hum-de-dum.
because you're beating, it's almost one that fulfills itself without you having actually gone on it because he's always at that next point you need to be, and
Well,
because
yeah,
you
to
are
an extent.
adventuring, better than
There's
he
one
is.
bit
He
where you,
starts to get depressed.
there's one bit where you have to meet him in Blighttown, like way beyond the point that you'd ever want to go back to Blighttown. But yeah,
I mean, it's funny in Dark Souls 1, it feels like the two most iconic or recognizable characters are Siegmeyer and Solaire, are
Yeah,
ostensibly side quest
yeah,
characters, right?
they
Which
were
is,
yeah,
quite. Oh man,
because
yeah.
they're like the only jolly people in the entire
Yeah.
miserable experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
the merchant was happy. The first one you meet, thank you kindly. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I like the ones that it kind of feels like how Yahtzee was saying, the smaller everything you're doing is a smaller piece of a larger thing, like
Mm.
with the Arkham ones, or even certain Spider-Man 2 followed a similar role in like the side quests that I don't know, spoilers, like where it's nods to Carnage and everything. Like these are quests that you like build up and then you slowly realize like what these things are drawing back upon. But then it also has the self-contained ones, like there's like you're helping out a lady who lost her like dementia-addled father, and like you sit with him by the lake, and he talks about that's where he like met his wife and everything. And that was a nice little like, oh, this was nice and feels
Well,
Spider-Man-y because that's what Spider-Man does is he helps out dementia-addled elderly people.
yeah, amongst other things.
Yeah.
I think for me, a side quest should in some way help you get through the main campaign as well.
Mhm.
Like,
Sure.
I think if you're having trouble with like a boss fight in the main campaign, you should have the option of saying, right, we'll put a pin in that, we'll build up some like money and resources and levels doing the side stuff, and then we'll try again.
Mm-hmm.
And I've played a lot of games where that sort of isn't considered. I remember like Diablo 4 leaps to mind because everything in that game scales up to your current level. So grinding up side quests to get better for a boss fight isn't a thing because the boss will
Yeah.
have ground up as well by the time you get to him.
Hmm.
And I was playing Skull and Bones this week, as a lot of people are, I think. And I was having trouble with like this one like boss fight, kill the one big French ship, and I was thinking, okay, well I'll just grind up some side stuff and see how we do. The problem was that is I didn't know what specifically would make me stronger. All I knew
Mhm.
in the abstract was that I could maybe build better cannons if I found the necessary resources and blueprint. But half the side quests just made you money, and it's not money I needed. It was bronze ingots.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's an art to kind of balancing the reward of a side quest, right? You don't want something that's going to make you so overpowered that the game becomes silly, but at the same time, you want,
Well,
you want something for your time and effort.
But
I
it's
think
like a
if you,
common thing
Hmm.
where, so, and I've noticed this, it's kind of in old MMOs, and this is the problem in Skull and Bones too, where it's like, you have to do it all together. So it's like, all right, progress the story a little bit. Now do all the side stuff because I've just unlocked these bronze ingots that you're looking for, and then you get all that, and now you can do the main story again, and now branch out and do all these side quests, and it just does this segmented thing over and over again, and like
Mhm.
that kind of does tend to weigh down a little bit, but yeah, no, this ties back into the loop, but it just feels more so like this isn't optional, right? This is just a very long-winded, segmented, almost filler in so to speak, in a video game, or even like the anime sense of like this kind of, we had to do this, otherwise we couldn't have done the main, but it wasn't as fun.
I'm gonna pick on you slightly for your use of the word optional there, because I've raised this question before. What does optional mean in video games? I mean,
it's not on the critical path, right?
I mean, the whole playing the game at all is optional.
That's
This is
fair.
our fun time. This is our leisure. I like a game that sort of mandates a certain amount of side questing to get people to really engage with the extended, broader gameplay of the experience.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to that authored feeling, right? If it feels like they cared, if it feels like this genuinely is like a small, if the game is a cake, here's a cupcake for you, instead of just like, all right, here's a bit of like scrappings from the cake, a bit of leftover ice, and enjoy,
It's funny. Oh, God.
I was going to say though, but on the other hand, if your game is a really enjoyable core gameplay loop like Spider-Man, we might appreciate just having quests where you can just do that. Without having to stop because you got to the end of the narrative thread of the side quest.
Yeah, there's ones where it's just follow birds or go in wind tunnels or do a little race thing, and they like a race as in like a foot race, not
a
like
race war and Spider-Man.
But so you have those. You have side quests that can be the rewards can be fulfilling. You have side quests where the mechanics can be fulfilling because they're just fun. There's also the ones that there's side quests where I don't remember what I got for it, but the fleshing out of the world and the kind of story appeal made me care about my main goal even more. I think back to stuff like helping out all the townsfolk in Majora's Mask. Like, you don't need to do any of that, but like seeing through the Cafe and Anju like wedding quest line all the way through the end, like gives you the impetus to be like, I need to save this world because like I just saw this like beautiful kind of 3-act story of this couple in love, and this is like what I'm saving the world for. Or at the end of Chrono Trigger, there's like a handful of side quests before you go to the final dungeon, and each one kind of centers on one of the party members, and so you get like closure of their narrative arc through these side quests. And Nier Automata does a similar thing, and even like Red Dead, some of the hanging out with your homies by the fire. I feel like adds a layer to the overall story.
Well, what we're talking about here is engagement, and that can come from being engaged with the story, and that could motivate you to want to save the world, or maybe you just want to save the world because you like having fun in the world, and the world is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Right. To me, I kind of like it when side quests feel like overflow. Like there's as much love and time and effort put into the side stuff, but there was no way we could have made an entire game out of it, right? So it's just like self-contained in itself in that sort of way. But do you guys get sort of executive dysfunction, this feeling of like, oh god, I have to do the side quests?
I don't. I know some people do. My wife does. She's, as I've said before, she's very completionist when it comes to games. I like put her onto Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and she got bored of it because she felt she had to do every single side thing before she moved on to the next bit of plot.
Yeah, I'm choosy with what I do. I definitely don't, if I don't have to, I don't rush through a game. But if I'm liking the side things, I will take the time. If I start feeling like they're just sort of randomly generated filler activities, then I'm pretty quick to bounce off that. Like I don't need to see a clean map, but if I'm enjoying the things, like I've by and large enjoyed the stories of the like a dragon side quests, and so as I'm running around Honolulu, like anytime I see something like 2 blocks away, I'll be like, well, I'll run over there and see what's going on there, and it's usually something entertaining at the very least.
Do they intimidate you that they are timed, or that you might end up skipping them? Like with Dredge, where you found those little starving guys on the island.
I still don't know what that is. They all died.
Yeah, I'm not fully sure what happens, but I mean, you still get the achievement even if they die. That's what the guy was saying. But now that he had to remove that because people genuinely in the reviews were saying this horrible game has timed side quests.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, those people wouldn't have much fun in Dead Rising.
No, yeah, that was tough. Dead Rising, at least, I feel like makes the timingness of it apparent, right?
Yeah, very much
Whereas
so.
Dredge was just like, I don't know who these dudes are, and then you go back and you're like, oh, they died. I don't know what happened. Yeah, it's Final Fantasy VII Remake, the 2021, had a similar thing where like there was like a handful of chapters in the game that were more of like the side quest chapters, and so you could choose to just breeze through the chapter and go on to the next one, or take your time and do a handful of side quests. But if you just breeze through, those side quests kind of got locked out. So you would go to the next. If you come back later, you'd be like, well, you just can't do those. Whereas
Yeah.
I think they've said in Rebirth, that's not going to be the case. Is that side quest you could do at any point in the game?
I mean, you paid money for the game. Why wouldn't you want to experience everything there is in the game to experience?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, the whole attitude of just wanting to get to the end, aside from because you need to review the game, well, it reminds me of how Ubisoft were trying to sell time saver passes to people so they could just finish the game and get to the ending quicker.
mm-hmm.
Well, was it?
I
Well,
mean,
no, I'm
why
not
did you
against
fucking
it.
buy the game?
They've
Yeah.
got, they've got kids. If you want to pay extra to complete the whole thing for you, yeah, go
Yeah.
for it. Why not?
One kind of side quest we didn't talk about, which thinking of a recent game, I guess Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is the one that comes to mind. Are the like hardcore challenge based side quests. So Prince of Persia had those like kind of challenge rooms where and it's similar to like Hollow Knight or Ori, even a room where you had to do a crazy platforming challenge, do a big loop, and not touch the ground because the ground is spikes or lava or something.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't even remember again what the reward for those were in Prince of Persia, but I liked the feel of the game and I liked the mechanics so much
Right.
that, like the Spider-Man ones, I wanted to do those because I wanted to see like 2D platformers. I like one of the genres I think I'm actually good at, and so I wanted to see if I could actually complete them.
Yeah, because it's often the case that the very, very hardest challenges in the game are the side challenges, because
Yeah.
those are the people who
Well,
are really engaged with the game and want to fully explore their skills.
Yeah, for
It's one
weirdos only.
thing. One thing I knocked against Rusted Moss because it would do those, right? Where it's just like, all right, this room, and it would even tell you where it's like this is just a challenge room, right? And you do get a reward for it and whatnot. But what they were trying to say is they'd encourage you to kind of complete the game first so you could have as much gear as possible and then come back and do it. And so
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, I found this side quest way too early and I'm stuck here for 5 hours. And I didn't get it until I got back the second time, and now it's super, super easy. So I guess like when they approach me is also as important as like what it is, right? I kind of do
Yeah.
like Metroidvanias are my favorite in that sense of you have an ending, but there's also so much other stuff that you could have another ending, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
is
and
it real? Have you really had an ending? If there's another ending,
yeah.
now,
2
that's the
endings.
near automata question, isn't it?
Oh god, too many endings.
Yeah,
No, 26. That's a good number of endings. That's a healthy number of endings for a story. Um, yeah, there's also the kind of going alongside that is like the rate at which they're doled out. Like a lot of games will just be like, there's a community board or a hunting board, and then you click on it and you're like, oh, here's a
Yeah.
bunch of side quests. Like that's how Final Fantasy 16 side quests work. You would go back to your base and you'd go to the community board and be like, oh, there's these 5 things you need to do around the world. And if there's like too many of those at a given time, it's just like, am I just adding these to the list? Like in the same way that someone's
Yeah.
like, hey, you should watch this YouTube video. And I was like, yeah, I'll add it to my watch later list. And I do. I'm never going to watch it. Like, if
See,
I'm
if a
being
game-
honest, I'm never going to do that.
Yeah. See, if a game like does side quests like that, like for some reason Dead Island is leaping to mind, where all the quest givers are in like one place, like a town, and they say, "Hey, go to this place in the open world and do a thing and come back,"
Mm-hmm.
then I'm less likely to do them. But if I'm just randomly hovering around in the open world doing stuff, and like someone runs out into the road and flags down my car
Yeah.
and says, "Hey, help! My wife's pinned under a tiger or something," Then
Skull, was it?
I'm far more likely to engage with that because that
Yeah.
feels like a much more organic engagement with the game. I guess I
Yeah.
want to say Red Dead Redemption feels like a game that does that more, where like side stuff just sort of happens to you as you go, and that's kind
Yeah.
of my ideal model for it.
And I like when you can solve a side quest before you've even gotten it without realizing it. Like
Yes.
maybe you explored a
Oh.
cave and you got a thing, or you killed the
Yeah.
monster in the cave, and then hours later you find someone who's like, "Hey, this cave's got a monster," and then they're immediately like, "Oh, you already killed it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Instead of it just
Look-
respawning the monster, or the monster wasn't there until you initiated the quest. That's some real bullshit.
I love that in Deus Ex because whatever you did, they'd have to write dialogue for it, and they'd always. I tried to create some kind of justification for the main character being a complete psychotic vigilante Randian or something. Like in the subway station level, there's like a gang leader who asks you to kill a drug dealer. And if you've already killed him, just randomly for no reason, your character just goes, "Already dead, just another parasite."
That's great.
That's so good, yeah. Because I was
I
going to
love
bring
that.
up even like with Skull and Bones. Sometimes, because I'm a horrible hoarder and I just get everything. Sometimes I go in to accept quests, but then it's like accepted, submitted because it's already in
Yeah.
my inventory. But since it's not tied into the quest, it's not as special as something like that.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
right, you're just kind of a sicko here at this point.
At this
And you
point,
say
you're
you
just
say
being a
emergent
weirdo.
side quest, but it does that a lot. Where it's just you'll see boats screaming, "Oh help! We've been, we're sinking. Help us!"
Yeah,
I do like those. Those that, aside from the ones that come out of nowhere, almost self-imposed side quests. Like I got done with Far Cry 3 a few months ago, and I would just play and play. But it gets to a point where you unlock so many guns that you do kind of need to hunt animals for better pouches. So in the middle of doing the normal quest, I'm like, I'm gonna go over here real quick and just get some skins, and not having to complete everything, but just sort of
Yeah.
almost out of necessity.
love to do a nice skinning
A nice skinning.
midway through my games.
Yes. Red Dead Redemption 2, well, they fully animated it because
Yeah.
they're psychotics. That was
Because
the highlight of my life.
I feel like it was just one of those things where like the other team still had like 2 years left on the game, and they're like, "Well, I guess we got to do
that's-
some things. Let's give the
that's-
horse some balls and let's
that's-
animate skinning."
That's my theory for the horse pooing and the shrinky
Yeah.
balls thing.
Yeah.
How's it feel
Go ahead.
when it's like, okay, this is really difficult to explain, but I'll give it sort of like Outer Worlds. Is that the time loop one?
No, Outer Wilds.
Damn it, I always get those confused. Outer Wilds.
It's understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like, okay, here's your main quest, but we have no idea how to accomplish it. So you are nothing. It's just all side questing, essentially, even though it is part of that sense. There's a lot of exploration games, is what they're being called, that kind of do that, where it's like there's this one thing you want to accomplish, but we're not going to direct you. So you kind of have to interact with the rest of the world and side quest away until you accomplish the main objective.
Yeah. It's interesting because with Outer Wilds, everything you do feeds into the main objective, but you don't need to do everything. You can kind of stumble upon the solution to the game, without really fully exploring certain planets or bodies. But yeah, that is interesting. I would say nothing in that game is a side quest, but a lot of it is optional, which is weird. Those feel like those
The whole game is optional, I hear, Marty.
Oh,
I
well,
was
every game is
reprimanded by him.
Yes, some are more optional than others.
Sure, yeah, some are absolutely. You mentioned earlier, I think Frost. You said they could be a vessel to showcase a mechanic that might not be able to be strong enough to hold up on its own. Sometimes we do get those ones that are so popular, like you get a Gwent that is so popular that it ends up becoming its own game, or like when people think back to like Triple Triad. I don't know why I keep going to card games, but like Triple Triad and Final Fantasy VIII, which people just went nuts for.
Or
It was like
the Captain Toad levels in Super Mario 3D World.
yeah, that's a perfect
their own
example.
game.
Yeah, it became its own game, and so like it
I
feels
have
like
no idea why, but they did.
Captain Toad is nice.
Was it good?
It's nice.
Like Gwent didn't do well. They should have attached an RPG to their card game. That's where they went wrong.
Well,
Yeah,
they
it is
did.
funny that Gwent didn't do super well.
Well, they saw all the shit Hearthstone was doing and thought, gotta get me some of that.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there an example of like of a mini game that did almost surpass like the legacy of the main game, like the Chow Garden maybe in Sonic Adventure 2?
The only
Like
thing people seem to have fond memories of in that game.
Yeah, and then you go back to play the game and you go, ooh,
What's that thing in Final Fantasy? It's like soccer or some sport.
Blitzball.
Oh,
But that's also part of the main story because your character is like
Yeah.
a star blitzball player, and that is atrocious, like genuinely atrocious. It
I
is like
thought people loved
one
it.
of the worst. Just fucking underwater basketball. Get out of here.
Ew, what a
I
horrible
don't know, I
concept.
suppose any game side quest has the potential of completely distracting someone from the rest of the game if it like particularly appeals to them.
And if they have enough
Like
depth to them, and
like a Dragon, both Like a Dragon games seem to be like almost trying to provoke that sort of thing with the
yeah,
business
and the
management and the Animal Crossing side stuff. in
yeah,
those
yeah,
games.
and the Sujimon. Like, I mean, the new
Yeah,
Like a Dragon has Pokemon. It has Animal Crossing. Like, it is.
yeah.
It
Whatever's your
has Crazy
poison.
Taxi. It has Pokemon Snap. It has all of your games inside of it.
Oh, big, yeah.
Shall we go to super chats?
We shall.
It's
But
about
before we
time we did
do,
that. Oh yeah, mid roll ad.
Bye
Sorry.
all.
another word from our sponsor. Thank you so much, Eric.
This video is sponsored by Last Epoch. Uncover the past and reforge the future in this upcoming time-traveling action RPG from 11th Hour Games. Built for genre veterans and newcomers alike, Last Epoch will have you mastering over a dozen unique and frankly rad-sounding classes like Void Knight, Beastmaster, and Blade Dancer. Branch out across tons of skill trees, dive into the community-revered crafting system, and hunt for rare and powerful loot by yourself or alongside your closest ARPG pals. Last Epoch is easy to learn and hard to master, just like playing the saxophone. And Last Epoch's deep and continually evolving endgame means that there's no curfew on this dungeon crawl, unlike my saxophone playing. I have to stop by 7. Pre-order standard, deluxe, or ultimate editions today to make sure you have access to tons of goodies like the Temporal Guardian armor set, pet cosmetics to spruce up your favorite companions, and of course a copy of the game itself. That's important. Start working out those index fingers because Last Epoch comes out of early access on February 21st, 2024. That's this year. Head on over to Last Epoch's Steam page to pre-order your version of the game today and prepare for your next great ARPG adventure.
We did it.
Yay!
Progress.
I hope you enjoyed being reminded of Last Epoch.
Which comes
There.
out tomorrow. Oh yeah, little Diablo 4 killer for you. Absolutely.
R.I.P.
Yeah,
Diablo.
yeah, probably. Anyway, our super chats start this week with good old Tommy Salty, old Adventurers Night music composer man, who gives 10 Polish zlotys to say too many side quests are mechanically boring. IMHO.
Yeah.
And
If
narratively boring too.
And narratively, yeah. Again, that's where you, if it starts feeling like busy work and you're not enjoying the work itself, then you're like, what am I doing?
A lot of games where the main like gameplay feels too much like busy work.
I mean, honest.
Those are just bad
Combat
games.
in Banished Ghosts of New Eden, for a
Those are
recent
just-
example.
Those are just absolutely, yeah. Those are. Oh, you're not liking Banishers?
Well, let's
save
save
it.
that for my review when it comes out a week after this week.
There you go.
Next week,
We'll table it.
even, let's say.
Well, you called this week. And then before we go on to Wesley, Tommy, thank you so much for being in the tip jar. Andrew, welcome to the tip jar, and 2 Andrews in a row. Welcome to the tip jar. Andrew Ball and Andrew Collette. A couple of Andrews cutting it up.
Wesley Thomas gives 2 Canadian and says every side quest is that much more XP and GP I get. I guess that goes back to what I was saying, that every side quest feels like you need to at least be moving forward in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I'd like. I want to know that if nothing else, I've at least made some money and some experience, so I'm in a stronger position than I was before.
I used to do
Yeah.
that, but then like if you do the main quest enough, all the others just become so trivial. Really, it
Well,
almost
maybe
becomes
let people do that. Maybe people want that. Maybe people want to feel overpowered, and that's why they do all the good grinding.
Oh,
up
I
and
would
side
if it
stuff.
would let me. If it would let me get overpowered, absolutely. But if it's just like essentially this all amounts to 10% of your overall power level in the end, I was like, oh, okay, it's just you wasted me time.
Wiggle Toffee's ears.
Oh,
Slightly in
look at
view.
Toffee's ears. Yahtzee, would you say social links are side quests in the Persona games, or are they just the
Well,
main
it's-
text of the game?
It's hard to call it a side quest when it's the thing you engage with as part of the main campaign, I suppose. Because
Sure.
you got to find something to fill your time
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I mean,
But
you
they're,
could
I guess
just
they're
make
optional in terms of like you choose if you want to focus all on
Yeah.
one character or if you want to get yourselves a nice little harem going.
I
How
guess.
much?
I mean, it's
so-
I suppose in the strictest sense of the word, it's optional.
Yeah,
I
Nick
guess.
kept during Nick's playthroughs. He spends all of his time at the batting cages. I'm like,
Well,
Nick, you can
can
go
do
on
that.
dates. And he's like, I just want to go to
That's
the batting cages.
that's the beauty of the Persona games. You can do that. You can just hang out at the cafe that makes your face greasy and improves your charm score
Yeah,
all day, every day.
yeah.
How much side questing is too much side questing? That was kind of my issue with Dave the Diver. I felt like that was a game completely up my alley, but it was just like, here's this new thing, and now this new thing, and now this other
Yeah.
new thing. I was like, wait,
Mm.
oh, alrighty then.
Yeah.
Well, I might have said something like the Yakuza games have put a little bit too much effort into the side stuff, but then that's kind of the appeal.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree with you on Dave the Diver, at least.
Hmm.
Hey, bet on horses. No, I won't.
You can't make me.
E.E. Newton gives $5. Says, I am all about side quests. In Elden Ring, I literally got to Lanedale before I beat Margit. What do you want, a fucking medal, E.E. Newton?
You got lost, did you? No.
How did you even get around? How
Good time.
how did you get to Lanedale without going through the
What
castle?
do you mean? You could just walk in. What?
Without beating Margit? Margit, don't you need Margit to go through the castle to get to
Oh, you
Liurnia
go-
to get to Lanedale?
Yeah,
No,
there's
because remember all those fucking
No, you-
chests that take you elsewhere.
Oh, those sneaky
Yeah.
little chests.
And yeah, you can go straight past Margit and go to Liurnia if you want.
I didn't
I
Yeah,
know
notice
that
those.
much.
Like I somehow ended up through the back door of the Volcano Manor. I didn't know there was I thought it was like, how the hell did I get up in there?
Yeah, I got.
About-
That happens when you get killed by one of those sarcophagus ladies. You wake up in Volcano Manor.
Those sarcophagus.
Everyone keeps saying there's a side quest around the cliff. Yeah, the side quest can get you. You can go past the first god, but you can't get past Margit from that side quest, right? You need to beat Margit to get to the little path around the castle, right?
No,
Like,
I
that's some
believe-
sequence breaking.
I believe if you go either north or east, they both have chests that will take you to Gary, Indiana, and elsewhere. So you can kind of just end up going all the way around.
Yo, you know what game was great? Elden Ring. Elden Ring was a great game.
This is a good game.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I hear.
This is
SVS Go 2000 gives €5. Says side quests are best when they're little story vignettes. Sometimes they're better than the main quest, like that Aranara World quest in Genshin. Well, I wouldn't know about that because I'm not a fucking weeb.
Oh,
You love Persona.
you're a little bit of a
You
weeb.
just played Persona 3 again.
I
Yeah.
like weeb games that are unlike what weeb games are usually like.
Genshin is very weeby.
Yes.
Is it?
It's
Okay.
extremely weepy. Yeah, I don't know. It's got like a little a little companion with a high pitched voice.
So does
you're into
Mario.
that.
What?
Oh no, it's Mario. Mario's very weepy. I don't know who our Nana in Genshin is, but I hope they have a good time.
Kind of fish, isn't it? An Aranara?
No,
Is
that's a
it?
mahi
Might
mahi.
Yeah,
What
you're
am I
thinking of Mahi
thinking of?
Mahi.
Well, no, I think of something else. Well, anyway, Arowana, that's what I'm thinking of.
Marijuana,
420.
Arowana.
blazing it.
Well, anyway, Fox D gives $5 and says side quests are getting full on salad and breadsticks to the point where you can't finish the entree you paid for.
Ooh,
Well,
that's
it depends on the game,
interesting.
Fox. Depends on the game, Fox D. And some games are like the salad bar at Sizzler, where you pay $10 and eat whatever you want, and that's kind of your meal.
and you
Yeah.
just load the plate up with ham cubes and egg.
Yeah.
Ham cubes and egg, just a single egg.
But some of them have dessert stations where you can get fill your bowl with apple crumble and cake, and then get soft serve ice cream all over it.
That's delicious.
There's
That's
nothing.
a
There's no
salad.
laws that say you have to finish the main campaign. If you're just having fun doing side quests and then you get tired of the game, that's fine. You can just stop.
Yes, maybe the
Option
main
coming to your
campaign
house.
is optional.
Ooh.
Think about it. Think about it.
Ooh.
There you go. Early Burm gives $10 and says, "Hi Frosty, did you ever do the side quest where you look right into the camera and say, 'Hello, beautiful, Daddy's home'?"
Every day. Yeah. To me, pups. But right now, this one?
Yeah, go on, do it.
Something like that? Hello, beautiful. Daddy's home.
Dad, we need to
Yeah.
charge more for that.
There you
What is
go.
going on? That's
I
we need to.
I had to be
that needs
careful
go-
because as I was going halfway through there, I was like, oh no, Jack Nicholson's coming out. Oh God. Hello, beautiful. Daddy's home. Oh no.
What's with the wobbly face when you
That's
say
Jack
that?
Nicholson's thing.
Yeah, he wobbles a
He
lot.
just like wobbles his face.
Yeah, he did a
Ugh.
lot of cocaine in the 60s
Big
and 70s
eyebrow
and 80s
energy
and
too.
90s.
I got those Jack Nicholson
Fair enough.
eyebrows.
Oh, that is pretty good.
Did you ever hear about Princess Leia's coke finger?
No, I heard
That's
about Grandpa
the name of
Joe in Willy Wonka.
Well, back in the day, if you were on coke, you used to grow out one of your fingernails to have a thing you could snort bumps off of.
Mm.
And if you look closely, Carrie Fisher's got one in some of the Star Wars cuts.
Grandpa
Princess
Joe's
Leia's-
got one in the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka.
Princess Leia's Coke Finger is a great band name, by the way.
Mikko Raikkonen gives €5. Says, what is a game, movie, book, or piece of technology you love that is objectively average or bad? Mine are Harvestella and Anno Mutazione.
Everything I love is great.
Is anything objectively bad in the world of art?
No, like I'm not.
I mean, I love going through demos. A lot of them are actually tragic, but just the concept and ideas they present are fun.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
So
I really liked Sonic Frontiers, and I feel like it's bad.
It's
But I enjoyed myself with it.
it has its positive qualities.
Yeah,
that goes back to those games that we love that others don't, kind of thing.
yeah.
But I actually do enjoy some work as in progress because it's just nice to see it before it buds.
Mm,
Yeah.
Slightly creepy way of putting it, but okay.
What?
Just a smidge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Connor gives $5 and says, I do all the side quests if the world is fun to be in. Got to have a good world narrative like Baldur's Gate 3, Witcher 3, Mass Effect.
Yeah, if you like the place you're in and you like the crew you're with, I think you're willing to put up with a lot, and especially if there's little crumbs through it that give you a little bit that expand upon that world or your party. I think liking your characters can do a lot of
Yes.
heavy lifting when it comes to your side
Long
quests.
Love the one you're with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess it was fun taking Chie to the bathhouse in Persona 4.
Exactly.
Did you guys
Nick
like
wouldn't know because he just played baseball.
Did you guys like the romancing in Midnight Suns? Little fishing with Blade.
I did like that actually.
I don't really feel that way about Spider-Man.
Or
I wish
fish.
Spider-Man would get back to punching Mysterio. I don't really want to snog him.
I feel that way about Blade. He's
Okay.
a Daywalker.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Void.
vampire.
Yes, I know. What's the other word for that?
Lycanthrope.
Well, no, that's a werewolf.
Nope, my mistake. My
Well,
mistake. Another word for a Daywalker? A halvesies?
Yeah, a half vampire.
half
There's
and half. What?
some
Yeah, half
context.
and half.
In some canons, there's a special word for that. Forget
Oh.
it.
Mm.
A Dampier?
Yeah, that's it. Alucard in Castlevania is a Dampier.
Did you guys know?
Oh,
Alucard? Put that name backwards. Dracula.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Think about that. Put
Didn't
that,
realize that in the 500 other Japanese works it does the same thing either.
put that in your Google Translate.
Anyway, Wojtek.
Wait, Dampier? So a vampire is a full vampire and a Dampier is just a half vampire?
Yes, but it's not a pun
Stupid
on
name.
damp. It's just
Is
you
it a
know,
wet vampire?
Yeah,
Speaking of damp,
yeah,
you
fine.
Coffee
got
just did a
too.
little
You got
handshake.
so excited for that. You
Yeah. Look at Toffee was like, oh, we're talking about Dampiers?
God.
He's a fan.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, cut that yawn out for a emoji. Why don't you?
Aw.
Anyway, Wojtek gives $10 and says, Ass Creed is a good example of good and bad side quests. Sometimes they're engaging, rewarding, and completely optional. Then it has quests that you're forced to grind for XP. Yeah, I think between every single Ass Creed game, it's done the entire spectrum of side stuff.
Yeah.
Mm.
In the very first game, people used to take the piss out of the flags.
Yeah.
Yep.
With-
The racing in the second one, they got me. They always did those, didn't they? Time trials.
Yeah, for a while,
Yeah.
basically every sandbox game had to have some kind of race, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why?
it feels like those are just easy, like,
Oh.
crutches to be like,
Easy
what do we
ways
need to fill some
to-
things. So
Easy ways to engage with the open world environment.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
too much
I'll
into it.
give you that. Where it's just like I'll send you off through the countryside, and you'll get to see what it is that you're about to do. But I've just seen some heinous races, or
Oh yeah,
worse
it's
than
not
that.
easy to do
Yeah.
them well. It's just easy to do them.
I've seen some heinous racism.
Oh, in
And,
our comments, be good.
Mafia, Mafia 3, there you go.
Yeah,
It
there you
has both races and racism.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Vampires and Dampiers.
Shut up. Oh, I know you're fascinated by the word dampier now.
It's
all of a
very
sudden.
funny. Don't worry, I'm good. I'll burn through it by the end of the podcast.
Tsunami Dusha gives $5. Says, can you think of any games where side quests recontextualize the main story of a game and its conclusion? Now, I have a funny feeling you're going to bring up God of War Ragnarok, Marty.
God of War Ragnarok does that. Yeah, God of War Ragnarok and Nier Automata were the two games I was thinking of with that, to where it rewards you by it's sort of, you get what you put into it, and there's certain side things that feel like it should have been the main game. You're like, this seems crazy to remove this from the main game, because it feels like it provides such like narrative oomph that the main story was lacking.
Is that like those? What is it? Those good option, bad option ones, like BioShock or an old Dishonored, where it's like if you save the girls, you get one ending, and if you don't, you get a different ending. Is that what you mean by recontextualize, or?
No, it
not
just
really. Recontextualizing is more like the Silent Hill 2 twist that changes how you see the entire
Right.
game.
yeah.
In that case, a lot of Metroidvanias do that with their because they give you the good ending, the bad ending, but then the true ending of like this is actually what went on. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Seems
more
like
of
the
like
honesty.
you don't like in an example like Nier Automata, there are side quests that teach you about the rules of the world and the history of the world that makes the ending, and it's the same ending, land with a heavier punch.
Okay. Same
And
ending, just different feed.
yeah, it's just, oh, I know something now. In the same way to where if like you rewatch a movie, you can be like, oh, I can start seeing the threads of it earlier and earlier, but it would be like if you could miss those threads.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Mhm.
Fair enough. Wojtek gives $20 and says, complete tangent, thanks to Yahtzee and team, Adventurers and I inspired my wife and I to start playing D&D. She overheard an episode and now she and I watch the show together.
Oh, that's great.
You're welcome, Wojtek. Thanks for saying Yahtzee and team. That's how I see
Yeah.
a lot of my relationships in life. It's me and everyone else.
Him and his dentist, him and
Yeah.
his accountant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mortimer and company.
that was our first idea for what to call Second Wind. We were just going to call it Yahtzee and some other dudes.
Yeah, yeah. It got voted 10-1.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome. And remember, folks, because the finale is so jam-packed and animated heavy, it will not be airing this weekend. It will be airing the following weekend. So March 2nd, the season 3 finale, and then right afterwards, the team is zoot scooting to film Adventures Night season 4 on location.
Zoot scooting, eh?
Zoot scooting. Yeah, you're just getting in your zoot scooter and you're just hoofing it across the country.
Yes, putting on my zoot suit and getting
Yeah.
on my zoot scooter
Exactly.
and then doing that song from The Mask.
Zoot Suit Riot.
Whatever.
What a song.
Luis Perez gives $2 and says, favorite side quest or one that stands out? You know, I was just thinking about a bit in, I think it was, I can't remember if it was Gravity Rush 1 or Gravity Rush 2. But there's a quest in that game that's part of the critical path, but you think it's a side quest.
Okay.
Like you run into this lady who says, oh no, I dropped my love letter from my spouse over this cliff. Could you go down and use your gravity powers to get it? And you're thinking, okay, this is just a side quest, might as well do it. It's like 5 minutes of a time. But then it turns out you like fall out the bottom of the world and your character is stuck there for 20 years. And it's like the entire rest of the game is past that point. And then you finally claw your way back to the city, and everything's changed, and a fascist government's taken over. And the girl you were getting the letter for has entirely forgotten that they sent you on that errand.
Yeah, yeah. I love that.
Wow.
That's great. Yeah.
Hmm.
I like an RPG where entire party members are locked behind, or kind of optional, locked behind side quests. Final Fantasy VII original had Yuffie and Vincent, who were missable. Final Fantasy VI has a bunch of missable characters.
Ooh, Miss Mouse in Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door.
Oh, that's a good one. Thousand Year Door was the one that you had to get all the side quests from the main town, right?
Yes.
Like from the board or whatever. Miss
Yes.
Mouse.
An entirely optional party member.
Yeah, I like that.
To me, it's all my favorite ones are in American Wasteland, the Tony Hawk game. It's just, hey, let's have some vandalism. Let me teach you, piss all over the Hollywood sign. Yeah, great stuff.
Just do a little vandalism.
Herb4NM gives 10 Polish zlotys and says, "What about side quests that unlocks true ending?"
Metroidvania.
That gets back to the old question of what is optional in video games.
Sure. Yeah, going back to like Persona, you need to like Persona 5 Royal, you need to do certain amounts of social links before a certain day in order to unlock the third semester. Same with Persona 4, you need to do certain things to unlock the third semester. If it's relatively obvious, I don't mind. If it's like if I have to look up how do I finish game, that's a little much in my opinion.
I had to do that for how to not get the bad ending in Persona 4 because you have to pick very specific conversation options to prevent your party from stone cold murdering a dude.
Yeah, and it's not like it just you can really bone yourself. No one likes boning themselves.
That's like Liza P, isn't it?
You're not there to bone yourself, you're there to bone the waifus.
Ooh.
Exactly. Does Liza P have a similar thing?
Yeah, like you miss out an entire boss fight if you don't. First playthrough, I was so fatigued of the game where I knew which one was the option. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna take the wrong ending because I want the game to be over now. Oh, look at Toffee.
Oh,
little babushka.
Little babushka.
Oh, please help me. My children are starving.
Oh, little babushkers.
Gerard Artech Prain gives $5 and says, "Yes, off topic, but are you guys planning on doing any possible meet and greet type things while recording Adventures 9 DC?" Nah, nothing like open to the public because we'll be too busy doing stuff.
It's a super secret location, super secret time.
It's the one monument that looks like a dong. That's
we don't want to have to deal with you, plebs.
Well,
Florbs. No, Nick's plan is in the future to organize an actual official, some sort of gathering somewhere, a gathering of the juggalos, if you would.
And the old Escapist expos. Well, I know you don't.
Yeah, I do not know. I don't think any of us. I think you and Nick are the only ones who remember. Maybe Omar.
Not even Nick. This was like Escapist 1.0 days.
Damn, pre-Nick.
I mean, me and Jim Sterling were there, and Total Biscuit was alive. Anyway, Bobby Joe Lord gifted 10-second win memberships. Thank you very much. Thanks for bringing the mood back up after I brought up Total Biscuit dying.
Oh my gosh, Bobby Joe Lord, thank you
did it
so
again.
much. You gotta give another 10 to make him less sad. Look at Toffee.
You little Toffee. You little Toffee wanted to say hello. Hang on, I lost my place. Fucking scroll all the way down again. There we go.
You're at Nearest.
Yes, Nearest25 gives 25 rons and says, "I recently got my hands on a drawing tablet and found some genres work really well with it. Any of you ever tried to play on a drawing tablet?"
Like an iPad?
Yeah, I don't. I prefer the feel of pen and paper.
Oh shit! Eric's just reminded me. I accidentally said Jim Sterling there. I should have said Stephanie's.
Yahtzee.
Stephanie Sterling. I'm confused because
was Jim then.
I was about to say that, but I thought, how about I not say that? How about we dig up? They are
always
friend of the show.
Yes, Stephanie Sterling, friend of the show. Yes. Anyway,
drawing
have I played on a drawing tablet? Played video games on a drawing tablet. I suppose like point and click adventure games would probably be pretty easy with a drawing tablet. And anything that requires clicking, like real-time strategy and
there was like
Osu.
Osu.
Have you guys seen Osu? It's
Osu.
it's essentially a rhythm game, but it requires you on top of the tapping to also do like some swings and some holds, some circling, and so.
Is it related to Osu Tatake Uenden, also known in the West as
Elite Beat
Agents?
I thought you weren't a weeb.
Yeah, Elite Beat
I'm not, a,
Agents.
I'm not.
I think it's great.
I'm not a weeb. I'm a video game expert who happens to know that Elite Beat Agents was based on an original Japanese game called Osu Tatake Uenden.
Yeah.
I know it's too much. No. So rhythm games, I guess, are just your best bet for those. Bring back Pokemon Ranger, please. I'd love to lasso my Pokemons.
A lot of
with the
lassoing and a lot of
stylus, yeah.
swiping. Yeah, I think creating a digital or like a controller facsimile on a touchscreen is always real wonky to me. Like I remember they released the Mega Man X, I think, on iPhone, like early iPhone, and you just had to play by like being like, here's kind of where the D-pad is, and here's kind of where the A and B buttons are, and it is junk, real junk in my opinion.
Brad, a member for 2 months in the Green Gang, says, I def worry about missing things if I skip sides.
Yeah, do you mean sides as in like
Side
courses
quest.
to a
Chips.
meal?
Yeah.
Okay,
it is.
Waka waka.
Wagga, etc. The Chevy Ferrari gives $10 and says, should side quests provide unique rewards that you couldn't obtain either by following the main plot or exploring, like powerful weapons in RPGs or a new bat gadget in Arkham?
Please do.
Well,
and
that's
Bully.
certainly a motivation to do side stuff.
Like
Yeah.
and Bully, if you did all the racing ones, you got the best bike. If you found all the rubber bands, you got a rubber band ball you could fight with. Yeah, like, absolutely, give me something.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah,
almost feels
that-
like a badge of honor you can show off by that you completed something because of a new vehicle or weapon or something unique you have.
Yes, just makes sense, really.
Mhm.
Quinn Thompson gives $5 and says, New Vegas did side quests well. Do them to get more involved with the world and can receive more options for the end game. And Yard's new Mikion book when? Soon. In
TM.
audiobook form, at least.
Next week?
Not that soon.
Oh, okay.
Probably in a few months.
That's a nice healthy soon.
That's as soon as I have like a clear release date, you'll all be the first to know.
Yay.
The Brain Sturgeon gives €2 and says, do you like whiskey? If so, what's your favourite? I don't so much like whiskey by itself. I do like whiskey sours, and I like Jim Beam in my whiskey sour.
There you go. This little open bottle of Jack. Good time.
Nice simple name. Yeah, I'm a brown liquor is my go-to. I like a nice a smoky scotch, a peaty scotch, a Lafroy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to smell like a Lafroy.
Oh,
There's a PH and an R and an O and an I and a G. There's all sorts of weird letters there.
the French. Just like, look
Yeah.
at us. Sprinkles them everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's not
I like.
French. Lefroy's Gaelic, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's Scottish. I think it's
Gaelic?
Scottish.
Oh, no, I was thinking Gaul. Damn.
Yeah. I like. I like it feeling like I just made out with a campfire.
I like a spiced rum, especially with like a wedge of lime.
That'd be good. Yeah.
I like a Captain Morgan's,
There you
Yeah,
go.
whiskey is definitely not my favorite. I'll tell you that.
Captain and Coke.
I'd go for tequila because I'm like, if we're there to get messed up, get me there fast, and then I'll drink something that's actually enjoyable.
There you go.
Fair enough. Yes, I've certainly found myself lent greater sexual potency on tequila.
Should have
And we'll
planned
leave
around
that
that.
exactly where it is.
Yeah.
Robo Knob the Snob gives €11.99 and says, for me, a side quest needs a core gameplay varied enough to sustain extra optional hours, build upon the core themes, and have good rewards, not just weapons, but maybe unlocking new areas, i.e. Elden Ring. Well, you don't ask for much, do you, Robo Knob the Snob?
Little fishing game too. While we're here,
Bye.
sure.
Bye, Toffee.
Right off the dampier.
He wants his walk. And then Robo Knob the Snob gives €5.99 and says, also, I just joined the live Don't Lambast Me with a year. We already said that, Yahtzee.
Give it to him.
We actually did. I don't think we did say. We just lambasted you for just asking too much. I do like a side quest where all of a sudden you do something and you're like, oh, there's a whole part of this world I didn't even know existed.
No,
There's a painted
Oh,
world.
God. That was like in. Oh, shoot! Like, I give that. That's fine if it reroutes itself back. But sometimes it gets to be too much. Where like that one cave in Skyrim, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna come in here and loot, and then fuck all. It's like more quests within this place. Like, no, one quest. You get one quest per location. That's it.
Arms and Legs gives $2 Says, fully Ramblematic for Ghost Runner 2. Hadn't planned to. Arms and Legs.
I believe the ship has
Recommend
sailed
one.
on that one.
Yeah, that came out a while back.
Did you play it at all?
I started it, but then other games took precedence, and I never really went back.
I feel like I was around the time we transitioned over here as well.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I liked Ghost Runner 1 at some of it.
Oh yeah, it's the end of October. You fucking quit a week later.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Logan
yeah.
Buchanan gives £5. Did any of you guys have a World of Warcraft phase? And if so, what stopped you? I did. I played it for 3 months. Way back before 2000, way before Zero Punctuation, actually.
Oh wow.
It was
You
part of
did-
what
didn't you
inspired
review?
my first novel, Mog World.
That's right.
And
Didn't you
what stopped
review
me... Yeah, I did. I reviewed Cataclysm a while back as well.
Yeah.
But I also played pre-Cataclysm World of Warcraft for 3 months. And what stops me was that I ran out of the 3-month free trial that Blizzard gave me for being a game journalist.
They should have given you.
I guess I don't really have an addictive personality.
That's good.
No,
Yeah, I played probably like 20 hours when it first came out, and that was about it. MMOs have never really done it for me.
I got to Max with my girlfriend, but we kind of did everything because like you can accomplish everything, and then it's just raiding, right? I never did raids.
That's
just
the
did the
end
stories.
game content, yes.
No, my game ends way before then.
Yeah, fair enough. Andrew Frangies gives $2 and says, anyone watch the DICE Awards? Opening was rough. Well, after all that shit we talked about the Video Game Awards, we didn't end up covering the DICE Awards.
First off, it was at like 10 o'clock at night, so we weren't going to do it live. Second off, I was gone at the end of the week, and I told Nick, I was like, you guys could just do a watch along on Friday of the VOD, and he didn't. So I don't know. Blame Nick.
And secondly, they're all dull.
Yeah,
aside from
they're fun to watch. They're just not
aside
necessarily.
from Keeley's, they're dull as hell. I've been trying to tell you all this, and you only want to watch them for your honor.
I saw like a montage of the winners, and it was just the usual shit. Like Spider-Man 2 won something, Alan Wake 2 won something, Baldur's Gate 3 won something. I was like, yeah, the usual crap.
It was literally, I'm going to make my own, no blackjack or hookers. Like
the thing is, there's certain things that are fun to watch on your own, and there's other things that just don't really aren't conducive to a watch along kind of atmosphere. It'd be like if you did there was that Xbox podcast last week that where they were like they're going to change the industry, and then it was just them saying some of our games are coming to other platforms, and there's a bunch of channels that did like straight up watch alongs of that. I'm like, you're doing a watch along of a conversation. That seems strange, right? Like you're commentating over a conversation. Yeah. Also, a lot of people yelling at me that I promised. I did promise. And then counterpoint, I was at a fucking hospital all weekend. I was playing games on my PlayStation Portal using hospital Wi-Fi. So maybe back off, everyone.
Why were you playing online?
What were you doing in the hospital? Were you giving birth?
I was not giving birth. No, I was there because I have a family member who's dying, and there was just a lot of waiting. And I was using hospital Wi-Fi to play a game on my PlayStation
You're all
Portal.
assholes. This is why you never ask how people are doing.
This is why you never ask.
I probably shouldn't have joked about that.
No, it's great. I like joking about my loved ones passing away. It's wonderful. I was being serious. I'm not. It's fine. I'm not.
I was more curious about the PSP Online. Did you not have like cartridges or
PlayStation Portal?
Fuck me.
What?
That's not within reach. That's the thing where I can, using the internet, I could play my PS5 at home, and I was on a deadline to finish a video game, so I finished it as God intended, using hospital Wi-Fi.
And I guess PlayStation Portable just isn't a thing anymore.
No,
might be coming back.
It's supplanted.
I think it might be coming back. I think there's with the success of the Switch.
Well, if you can just play it on your iPad, why would you need a?
Well, you need.
Hang on, Eric.
I
mean, to be fair, there was like 3 left. Are people saying the stream died? Everyone in chat saying the stream died.
Wait.
Oh, we're back.
We're back. We're back.
There we go.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All good. Must have been a YouTube fart.
Okay. Let's get through these last ones before it dies forever.
Okay.
Oh no, there's more.
Tsunami Dusha gives $20 and says, a question for all 3 of you. Just how obscure do you want a side quest to be in order to begin? bring points in a general direction. Given a task completely off the main path and only discovered by pure exploration.
I know people hate this. I love the water cooler talk when it's like, "Oh, how was your playthrough?" And it's like, "Yeah, I just completed this little side quest area down beneath the dungeon, 5 feet down." I'm like, what? I completely missed that. It makes me want to run
Yeah.
back and do it. Ash
Mm.
Lake, I'd never gone there, and then my friend told me about it. I like hearing it, especially if it's like years out. I know people have their FOMO, but nothing makes me want to play a game again. Like someone saying, "Oh, I discovered this random area in the middle of nowhere."
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
It's a
Sense
tricky
of
balance.
discovery.
It's a
Yeah.
tricky balance, and it's because that's cool, but also from the developer's perspective, it would be really annoying if you put a lot of work into something that nobody bloody noticed.
Cowards. Get over yourself. I already paid for it.
Suppose.
Yeah.
But there's such
No,
a thing
I'm
as
a
taking pride in your work.
Sure, but if they
I
don't
mean,
get
I,
all of it, it's fine.
I mean, if I was getting paid the same amount to make videos that just wasn't put on YouTube, like some rich asshole just held onto them and didn't release them, but paid me the same amount, I would not be satisfied with that job.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between someone got it and they enjoyed it a lot versus everyone got it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you have some very clever bits that I enjoy more going, that's funny, that's very specific. And I know a lot of other people won't get it, right?
Mhm.
And especially whenever you do like a call out to some random city in the fuck all nowhere. I look in the comments and I'm like, huh, wasn't expecting a shout out to wherever they're
Yeah.
from. Got doxxed on a Wednesday, but
Yeah.
so there's something special about that. And then if you do have that friend who gets it, you get to like share that moment.
Yeah, I remember, and there's like stuff used to like pass around kind of organically like that, and you still get that in the early stages of like a new Zelda or a new Souls game. But like I remember finishing Symphony of the Night and just killing Richter and being like, "Well, that's a bummer." And then someone at school being like, "There's a whole goddamn upside down castle in this game," and it's like, "What?
Yeah.
Where does
Right.
that come from?"
What
Yeah.
Like, what
I
was
think
it? A secret area found in Near Automata. Either an amazing discovery or an elaborate prank. Someone on Reddit was like, "I'm lost. Where am I?" And the
Yeah, and
Redditors were like, "What? I've never seen that room before." So 5 years later, they're still discovering new
yeah,
content.
I believe
Yeah,
that was
that was
a
probably a
prank.
hoax, but
Yeah,
still,
but
like
still, that's the
people like
excitement around
that.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So it's a balance. Oh, Toffee is ready to go.
Yes, I know you're still here. I know you want your walk. You don't have to keep walking around me and
Oh,
very
look at him.
noticeably stretching.
He's like, let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Anyway, Alex Armstrong gives $5 and says, "Hope you still like westerns, Yards. Found an oily XS game called Cowboy 3030. Imagine Fury, but roguelike over the shoulder and set in the Wild West."
What's an
Have I given-
oily excess game?
Oily accent.
Have I given off the impression that I like westerns? I've given off the impression that I like historical naval fiction. I don't remember ever saying westerns were a particularly hot button thing for me.
No, but you do the funny voice sometimes. I've not
Don't
known it.
don't Google oily. Don't Google.
What
that
is
this
oily
game.
access games?
No, it was just a
Oily
Reddit.
excess.
It was a Reddit thread to of gamer girls saying, "Does anyone else get sweaty when they play games?"
I once
So I
said
don't.
oily excess because it's a pun on early access. I think that's
Um,
what they were saying.
Oh,
yeah, no.
pretty funny.
There you go. That's one of mine.
Pretty,
Glad you liked
pretty,
it.
pretty funny.
Sadarak 1980 gives £2 and says, "Side quest definition: Zelda Breath of the Wild is all side quests."
Well, that's what we talked about at the top of the show. And yeah, technically,
Yeah.
the only main quest is just go fucking kill Ganon. Everything
I like
else is.
that. Have you guys seen that video? Guy just walks in, takes the fight, and does nothing else.
It's just that's 3
fun.
hearts. Yeah,
It's fun to see. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not gonna do it. It took him 3 hours.
Snake in the Garden member for 3 months in tip jar.
Thank you, Snake.
Thanks,
Sorry for butchering
Snake.
the Gaelic culture, as I always do.
El Munico gives $5 and says, "Other than improved graphics, is any part of Skull and Bones superior to its equivalent in Sid Meier's Pirates?"
Are the graphics that significantly improved?
I wouldn't have said so. I mean, it's certainly not better than Assassin's Creed Black Flag
There's
graphics.
probably more graphics.
Uh,
That doesn't mean they're better graphics, but there's just more of them.
oh, this is a very old, cartoony looking game. Oh, okay.
There's a couple of Sid Meier's Pirates.
Yeah, there was like a
one on-
1990 one, and then there was like an original Xbox generation one.
Yeah,
Mm.
he's probably talking about the second one.
Mhm.
There you go.
Anyway, the Brain Sturgeon gives €2, says, "For Frost, when's the next Chronicle coming out?" Yeah, Frost. When's it coming out?
It's not me, it's the editor. I believe
Friday.
Jesse said Friday.
I believe Friday is the
I
plan.
believe Friday is the next one, yeah.
There you go.
Crunkicle.
Friday.
Uncle-
Mark those calendars. Dr. Theo gives $2 and says, maybe the real side quests are the friends we made. Certainly in the Persona series, Dr. Theo.
Ah, the kisses you kissed.
Kiss.
But all the more tragic are the kisses we don't kiss.
You miss 100% of the kisses you don't kiss. But also, you shouldn't kiss all the time. You shouldn't. That's like,
Those are-
there needs to be
No.
some consent to kissing.
That's how you get diseases.
Mhm.
John Connor gives $2 and says, if the side quest is too good, they keep it for DLC. Maybe that used to be the case. Now it's if the game's actual ending is too good, they keep it for DLC. Looking at you, Suicide Squad.
Oh,
Wait, I
no.
thought it was Yakuza that did that. What?
No, Yakuza had New Game Plus.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
New Game
Suicide
Plus
Squad's
was
hiding the
behind.
ending behind DLC.
Yeah, because you get to the end of Suicide Squad and it goes, oh, we have not defeated Brainiac. There's like 13 of him and they all have to be killed and you have to live service grind to kill each one. But then you just kill one of them and then the game goes, now come back for the next season's content. Bye.
Oh my god. What's
yeah, that
happening?
used to be. There was a trend, late aughts, early teens, where a lot of games were doing that. Where Dead Space 3 hit its ending behind DLC. Asura's Wrath had its ending behind DLC. Alan Wake 1, like the wrap up of the
Yeah.
story was in American Nightmare. Yeah,
Wow.
Which wasn't strictly DLC. Then
No,
there was
more an
like
expansion.
Prince of Persia 2008.
yeah.
Hit the ending in DLC.
Getting away with a lot of bullshit around then.
Can't believe my eyes.
Alex Armstrong gives $5. Says side quests should be on the side and not something you need to progress. Am I right, Sonic Unleashed?
Was that the werewolf one?
Again,
Is that the
the
Dampier
debate.
one?
Yeah, that's the
Is
that's
Sonic
the
a Dampier?
lycanthrope one. No, he's a lycanthrope. Well, he's not even that. I complained about this in my review of Sonic Unleashed. He wouldn't be a were-hog if he turns into a wolf.
It's not a werehedge.
Because a werewolf is Old English for man-wolf. Were is an Old English word meaning man.
Oh,
As in
Hedge wolf?
were-man and with-man.
Hogwolf.
Wolf hog?
Yeah, so a were-hog would be a man-hog.
Hog wolf
He-
school of witchcraft and wizardry?
Yes, he should have been going to Hogwolf School of Witches and Wizardry.
I really want to play that game. I want to see that because he's already kind of looks like a werewolf, and so
talking
the
about
idea that he
Sonic?
transforms it, like werewolf things about him, like more so than like an armadillo.
Man, like to mean people with a Y chromosome, wasn't always a thing. It used to be just that man was just the word for both sexes, like
Sure,
people generally,
humanity.
mankind. And
Yeah.
if you were referring to ladies, you'd say with man. And if you were referring to men, you'd say were men. And the
With
with
men?
men evolved into women, and then we just started saying men to mean dudes with cocks.
Look what they've taken from us. What?
I know.
We used to be
Language.
werewolves.
Language evolves, people.
Words are wild.
Tragic.
Anyway, that's just my little cunning linguist complaint. Early Berm gives $10 and says, Pal World. First boss, you use pillars for cover. Second boss, their attacks literally go through the pillars and there is no cover. I just want someone to know I'm mad about it. Well, we
You-
all know now.
Your role has iframes. Get good. No.
Do we think? Does Pal World have a roadmap?
Yeah, they've launched one. I don't look at those. I see. And my theory is not even a theory. At what point is I promised to put this in the game? You know, an actual concrete statement that you are using to sell your game versus just hey, these are just words I'm saying. So
Yeah,
I
we
don't
were talking about
bother
that
looking
recently
at them.
with Dead Cells ceased is said that they are no longer updating the game, and some folks are mad because there was promised another year of updates.
Yeah.
But they're moving on to their next game or whatever.
I'm going to put out Starstruck Vagabond, be satisfied there aren't any major crash bugs, and then I'm going to never think about it again.
There you go.
That's my plan.
No roadmap.
I think that's just the way it used to be.
I know.
That's just the way games were for the first several decades.
That's the era of games I'm nostalgic for.
Yeah.
Escapist 2000 gives €5 and says, and it wasn't even different bosses to be defeated in the future. It was the same boss 13 times. So effing lazy. Yeah, we'll all be having fun talking about Suicide Squad when this week's Fully Ramblematic comes out.
Dun, 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 dun. That was a great segue. That was an incredible
Which is
segue.
on that very subject. Yes, I was segueing to plugging the upcoming week's content because we've run out of super chats. So thank you for listening to the Windbreakers podcast, everybody.
What were we looking at?
I've sufficiently bored Toffee enough that he's gone to play with the toy.
Aw.
Yeah. Well,
He's not
can't
having
have
it.
that.
Mm.
Thank you for listening. As I said, I've been Yahtzee Crusher. I was joined by Marty Sleever and Sebastian Ruiz. And Eric was doing the producing behind the scenes. Say thank you for Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
Always thank you for Eric. What else is coming up?
Well, I've got my Suicide Squad fully emblematic on Wednesday, and Yahtzee Tries. I will be playing the Tomb Raider remaster and that other thing with the dumb name.
Balatro? Yeah.
Yeah, the card thing.
Balatro.
Balatro. Yeah,
Sounds like a
that one.
dance.
Sure.
If you like, or a musical instrument. And then I've got a semi-emblematic coming out on Thursday. It will be on the subject of the lost art of the tutorial level.
The toots?
Whoa.
Whoa! Where did
My
that damn
toys,
beer
the-
come from?
Does Toffee not bark? He's not a barker.
He does bark, just not in this situation. He barks at other people's dogs, and he barks when people come in the house that he doesn't know.
Hmm.
That's good.
Me too. Yeah.
What else have I got? Well, Adventurers Night. Oh, no, I don't. We don't have Adventurers Night on Saturday because we're skipping a week so we can get the final episode done.
Yeah.
But make sure you've watched last weekend's episode. It was a banger.
And
I
mash.
think that's it for my stuff. Over to you guys.
All right. So, cold takes. Go watch the old one. It's a lovely, lovely time as far as streams are going to go. Definitely going to have Better with Friends on Saturday. No newly released for a while because Amy's getting ready for Adventurers Nighting. You know, it's gonna need that extra weekend. Was there editor's hour today, Marty? Do you know?
I don't know. Nick is bad.
Nick's
bad.
Nick's a
Nick is
naughty,
naughty.
naughty boy.
Nick is
Well,
naughty. I don't know. I'm at therapy, so I don't know. I'm doing an editor's hour with my life editor.
There you go. I'll come along.
Nick said no. Editing unpacked.
Okay, he's
Nick, you
editing
should
it,
stream you editing a video. Think about that.
There you go.
Huh?
I was gonna do that, but that was too meta, unfortunately. But no, and then on my own personal YouTube content channel, whatever, I'm just throwing up random thoughts that I need out of my head. Otherwise, they start to fester and smell. But no, Mondays you'll get your first of the new cold takes that come out on Monday. It's gonna be about demos. Enjoy that in the future.
It's a good
What
one.
do you got, Marty?
It's a good one. Yeah, in terms of streams, like Yahtzee mentioned, Yahtzee Tries tomorrow. We'll have Firelink tomorrow evening. We'll be talking about there's a Nintendo Direct, a partner direct tomorrow morning. We'll see what sort of scuttlebutt they got going on there. We're not going to be doing a live stream of that because it's at like 8 in the morning, and that's serial time. And then Thursday, I'm assuming a shoot to shit, Devil May Cry. Maybe we'll come back Friday. Maybe we'll do a cheeky little Final Fantasy stream or something because the second demo is coming out. And that's I can't, I kind of ruined that. Eric and I are working on a real cool video that you guys can watch later this week, and I can't tell you what it is, but I played a game for 80 hours, and I have thoughts. So much time. Oh my God, I've played so much video game. I gotta go back to Persona. I miss those kids. I just left them in Tartarus. I just fucking abandoned them.
We've all played a lot of video games.
That is true.
I must have played. Man, how many games have I played in my life? Must be like over 2,000.
Well over. You've almost reviewed 1,000. You're like in the 900s.
Yeah,
And
like all the games you played as a kid.
Yeah, I've played way more games than I've reviewed.
Yeah.
God dang.
Man, it's almost like it's my job.
It is.
That's why you put the shit on people and guess the game. Oh.
There you go.
You put the shit on them.
One last super chat came in the last minute from Nilo Cortex, and it's their first super chat. Blimey.
Oh my God.
And they said, no question. Just wanted to say thank you for all that you do. Hope you'll have a great rest of your day. Heart.
Nilo, thank you very much. Nilo. You're my new favorite Cortex after Dr. Cortex, the antagonist of the Crash Bandicoot games.
Dr. Neo Cortex.
Ooh.
Sadly, Nilo's been slightly overshadowed by Aitor Urabari, who's come in with another 500 arses to say, just catch the stream. I think you mean just caught the stream, Ada Oribare. Never mind. Sorry for the late super chat, but I didn't want to skip showing my support, saying I love the last episode of Adventure is Nigh. Looking forward to the big finale. The whole team is amazing. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, Aitor. Also,
Thank
you
you.
don't need to correct people's grammars. What are you doing?
He speaks
not a
2
school
languages. How
teacher.
many do you speak?
How many do you speak? You
Hmm?
probably speak a few. I don't know. You feel like you got secret languages?
I
I know
writers
high
tend to only
school
know
German.
one. There you go.
That doesn't
I
count.
have high school German and high school French.
I have high
Big
school
Daddy.
German, and that certainly doesn't count.
I have high school Spanish, and with the Spanish, it's awful.
And
Turns out
I
high
mean,
school, they don't teach you anything that sticks.
Mm.
and
Except
I
how to
know
smoke
what
cigarettes behind the bleachers.
I know what select Japanese phrases mean.
Suimasen.
And he's not a weeb.
I know what hentai is.
Yeah.
Most people do.
Yeah.
I know what bakamitai means.
What is that?
It just means I'm such a fool.
Oh, I got worried. I got worried it was gonna be something.
Yeah, it's
something
like,
dirty.
you should have asked.
I was like, I shouldn't have asked that.
Yeah, we should have just left it at that.
Should have left it. We could have been done right now.
Oh, I know what paizuri is.
Paizuri.
What's that?
Yes, it's tit fucking.
Ah,
Right. Well,
yes. That'll,
Look at that.
you know, when that's
leave
on
you with
there.
a little knowledge
that's
for the rest
in
of your
jeopardy.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
No.
Didn't think you'd come here and learn something, did you? Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.
What a disaster.